Everybody, it's Mrs. Cat, and I am here to walk you through the first example on the combinations of ions activity. So, what I have right now is my file for the combinations of atoms activity and the collisions game already open in two separate tabs. Remember, you can open your full file for the Google Doc in a separate tab by clicking on the blue title of the file in the campus assignment. Okay, so I've already opened collisions. What I'm going to do is log in, and we're going to be using the Ionic bonding levels. So that's in the bottom right-hand corner. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to go back. So I have all these levels completed. Okay, I'm going to open up level number 1. Okay, I am going to go ahead and work through this, even though you're still going to need to do that on your own. But we need this final information about what we're going to make to complete our example. Okay, so we've got a sodium ion. We're going to drag it into our workspace. Okay, positive charge makes it a cation. Okay, we've got a chloride ion made from chlorine that we're going to drag. Okay, it's a negative charged ion, which makes it an anion. Okay, what we're going to do is click each of these one time to activate their charges. Okay, they're going to be attracted to one another because they have opposite charges. This makes our ionic compound sodium chloride. Right, now we can drag this into our target space down here at the bottom. Okay, this is going to check to make sure that everything is good. Okay, we've got this ratio of 1 to 1, a 1 cation to 1 anion. Okay, it's going to make sure that all of our charges are paired, meaning that we're going to have a neutral compound. And then it's going to show us a picture of what's actually going to happen when we make sodium chloride. We're not just going to wind up with one unit. It's going to have this nice repeating pattern. This is called a crystal lattice. And so this is what we're going to look at. Now, what we're concerned about here are a couple of different things. Okay, we want to know what this particle diagram looks like because we're going to create that. We also want to know that we have a positive charge of 1 and a negative charge of 1 on our two ions. So that's everything that we need for this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move out to my Google Doc, hopefully. Okay, so what we've got here, let me close this out so I've got a little bit more space, okay, is putting in chemical formulas and particle diagram and charges on our ions. So this is a pretty simple chemical formula. NaCl, all we're going to do is type it in there. Some of your chemical formulas are going to need subscripts in them. I'm going to teach you how to do that in just a second. Okay, but all of these boxes that you're going to need particle diagrams are set up so that it's going to go straight to a Google drawing when you double click. So I'm going to double click on that. Hopefully, it's going to open up my Google drawing. Now, this is going to be really simple. I'm going to go ahead and take out this text because we don't really need it any longer. That's just there as a placeholder to make sure that we are going to be able to make our drawings. Okay, so what I do want to do is to add my particle diagrams. Now, back on our simulation or our game, we showed our two particle diagrams. I think the sodium was like a purplish blue. Okay, the chlorine was bigger and it was green. So I'm going to try my best to like recreate that. Don't worry too much about whether you make the colors match or not, but do try, if you can, to try to show our differences in size. Okay, and make sure that the ions that you're representing are going to be different colors. So I'm going to use this blue one as my first one for sodium. I am going to change chlorine into green. Let's go with like this color green. Okay, so I want to represent my charges for these ions in here as well, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on my circle, which is going to allow me to type text in here. Okay, so this is a little bit big for my text here, so I'm going to change my size, make it a little smaller so it fits. Okay, but then I also want to add in my charge that's +1. Okay, the easiest way to add our charge, which is going to need to be a superscript, is to do a keyboard shortcut. So If you have a Windows device that you are working on, you're going to hit Control and period. Okay, Control and the period key, and that's going to bring your text up to a superscript in this setup. If you have a Mac device, you're going to hit Command and period. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that on my computer. You're going to notice that I have my superscript now. When we do charges for ions, we do number first, followed by our sign. Okay, again, this is still a little bit too big, so I'm going to make that so it goes into one space. Actually, a better solution is probably to make my ion bigger. Yeah, that probably makes a little bit more sense. So why don't I do that? So I can make my text actually legible. Okay, maybe make this chlorine a little bit bigger so that it fits a little bit better with our diagram. Then the same thing's going to happen here, right? I'm going to double click. I'm going to go Cl minus. So again, to do that superscript, you're going to go either control period or command period, depending on what your device is, and then put your sign and your charge and your sign in there. Okay. To take that superscript back to normal text, you're going to follow the same shortcut. Okay. Control period or command period. And then for me, it bothers me a little bit that that's not in the center of my particles. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. If I click save and close, it's going to add that right into my box for my particle diagram. Okay. The last thing that we're going to need to do is to add those charges onto our table. Remember from your video that metal ions are going to be located on the left side of the periodic table from that stair step, and nonmetals are going to be on the right side. So in our case here, we've got, whoops, looks like I still have my superscript there. We're going to have sodium +1. Oops, and then we're going to have Cl minus. Okay. Now, I'm going to go ahead and show you real quick the other way that we can do superscripts and subscripts. Change this so my formatting matches. And that is to use the actual menu to insert those. So if you want to do that, you would go Format, Text, and then in our case, Superscript. Now, you'll notice depending on what your device is, you're going to see whatever that keyboard shortcut is going to be. I'm working on a Mac, so you're going to see that command period. Okay. I've also included those instructions for superscripts and subscripts in your document with an image down here as well. Okay, so you can reference that. So what you're going to do is you're going to continue to work through these. You're going to complete levels 2, 3, and 4. Once you've done that, you'll use the sandbox to complete your items in the second table. Okay, there's instructions here in your document as to how to access the sandbox. Okay, if you have any questions or you have any issues as you're working through this, please make sure that you send me a message. If you're not in my class, send your own teacher a message, and we'll help you work through it. Okay, good luck and have fun.